Hi, friends. Welcome back to Transform the Now. I'm Nathan.
I'm Tucker.
How about that for a smooth introduction right there? We'll get this down sometime. Sometimes I do it and sometimes we have you both do it. I don't know if we planned that out very much.
Don't you all think that Nate should be the voice and face and everything of Transform the Now?
No, shoot.
Thumbs up. Like us if you think so.
And like us if you don't think so.
Yeah, that's
Okay
true.
with that. Hey, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. It's good to
Good.
be with you, Nate. I'm excited for our conversation today. Uh, do you mind starting us off by telling us a little bit about your personality and your view of life and how coming to stillness and the things that we're talking about, you've met it with some resistance. I would love to hear you talk about that, Nate.
Yeah. So we even talked about this week. We had a phone call, and you were just talking and like gushing about stillness and how good it felt, and like I want that, but at the same time, like I love fun and energy and happy music and dancing and karaoke, and I'm bad at probably all of them, but like I like this sort of energy and fun and engagement and living there. And every time we start talking about stillness, I see like this sitting silently and nothing ever happened, and it kind of feels static right there. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And so like my heart sometimes, my mind sometimes resists that because I was like, the word that comes to mind sometimes is just like, that sounds boring. I think I'll pass. So yeah, like, but I don't think that's what you mean when you're so excited to be still, because I know your schedule and you are a very engaged individual with work, with your community, with your family. And so still definitely is not you just sitting for hours on end on a hill. Um, so so
Although that sounds kind of awesome to part of me. Give me that hill, give me hours. But yeah,
no,
you're absolutely right, Nate. Like this concept of stillness, even for me, like if you take me 10 years ago and you're like, hey, Tucker, let's find some stillness, I would be like, let's not find stillness. Let's have some fun, right?
right.
Um, but when we talk about stillness, we're talking about this inner state, not of stillness. Oftentimes when we hear words, our brain projects to some external experience. And the external experience of stillness does sound like just sitting there. But we are talking about inner stillness, which is actually full of energy, vibrancy. I would even say like electricity. This is the paradox of inner stillness. The more inner stillness we find, the more energy flows into our life. And that is a paradox. It's been a crazy discovery for me that coming to inner stillness enlivens me. I feel life being more fulfilling and more full, where before I was chasing a fullness of life through something external and I just could never find it. So is that helpful
Yeah.
uh in like that tension of stillness and boredom? Because for me, stillness is the opposite of boredom. I have never been less bored in my life than when I am deeply still and feeling the energy that comes from that stillness infuse me, infuse my relationships, infuse my experiences. It's just life is so much more fun, if we can even use that word, when it's when it's arising naturally out of a deep stillness.
I have a couple of images that come to my mind when you're talking about that. Like one is like old kung fu movies where the kung fu master is like all peaceful and somebody comes at him and in small movements he's able to dispatch the enemies or whatever, but like that stillness almost facilitates a greater capacity there.
Oh,
So
it absolutely does. There is, as stillness comes, there is a capacity increase in like every area of life, which is so paradoxical because so often we think that striving and like gritting is how we are going to increase our capacity, rather than relaxing and releasing into this stillness and this power that's beyond our own. So
well, I think that's something to bring up, because we all are coming from a background of, and we've mentioned this before, achiever mode versus receiver mode. And we very much are of the experience, both of us, that there is greater power than the power you can produce for yourself. And whatever you want to call this power, chi, Tao, flow, spirit, grace, energy, whatever you want to, quantum space force, I don't know.
oh, I like that one. Let's go with that one.
But we are saying that you can open up and receive energy or power beyond your own, and have a greater capacity in your relationships, in your work, and in your play, that can kind of energize throughout all of these systems, right?
Absolutely.
And may I suggest too, and maybe you react to this a little bit, but part of this energy is going to start coming into our lives when we are able to receive it, because we're not so stuck in our minds all the time. Like sometimes we're so busy projecting into the future and what's going to happen into the future, and making plans and worrying and scheming and being anxious, or in the past feeling guilty or dumb about things we said or did, or events that happened, or even feeling angry. That is this mental mind simulation matrix that we aren't even living real life. So stilling that mind actually allows us to live real life. And that sounds way more fun than any simulation, any virtual life, any mental life right there. So that sort of idea I can really get behind, because like, if I'm still, if I'm here, if I'm present, being 100% present with my wife, being 100% present with my kids, actually enjoying a slow afternoon, like I can get behind those sorts of things. Any thoughts or reactions to those sorts of things there?
Absolutely. That's a beautiful description of what we're talking about here, is that when we are living in the world of the mind, past, future, everywhere but here, our resources are limited. Our mind energy is finite. And when we can detach from that virtual life, we tap into an infinite energy that's just fathomless, bottomless source of energy that is always in flow, and life becomes very present, very alive and energetic. So this stillness, we might call energetic stillness, right? As we find this stillness, there's an energy there. And Nate, I'm gonna, if it's okay if I share a personal experience, but I feel really weird about sharing it. If that's okay for me to admit, but like uncomfortable sharing it. But we mentioned that I recently went on a trip to like Malaysia and Cambodia. And on that trip, there was one day where I was just meditating, just decided to lay down on the bed and connect to the inner body and the energy inside. And I just share this because I don't even know how to explain it, but I just want to articulate that there is this energy available that I didn't even know was really there. So I just laid on the bed. I like tuned into my body, how I felt in my body. And then I started to like feel parts of my body where there was some more sensory input, like my hands and my feet. I could feel some tingling there. Sometimes it's in my face or my lips that I can feel the tingling. And I just started to become very aware of body sensations and subtle sensations in my body. And I had done this before and felt some energy come from this. But on this particular day, like the energy, the more still that I got, the more energy I felt arising. And it got to this place where it felt like almost electricity all throughout my body, and not even just confined by my body. I know this sounds so strange, not even confined by the limits of my body, but it felt like I could feel this energy extending beyond the borders of my body, so that it was like around me. And I was like kind of transfixed by it. I think I laid there on the bed for like an hour, just absorbed in this energy. And sometimes, thoughts would come in and pull me out of the experience a little bit, but I would just be drawn back to this feeling of energy. And for me, it was a really, really kind of expanding experience where I discovered that there is like a real energy flow. And I remember laying there and thinking, man, when feel connected to this energy, there's no negativity in me. There's no judgment in me. Life feels vibrant, alive. I'm so excited about life and about moving forward. And I got the sense that this energy that I was sensing, if it stopped, then I would stop living. Like my body wouldn't have the power behind it to live. So I got up from this experience and I was like, what the heck was that? And I like Googled something and I saw somebody, describing chi. And I was like, oh, is that what chi is? And then I got on the phone with my wife and my son, and they were like, Dad, have you never seen Kung Fu Panda? Come on. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? And they're like, oh, like in the third one, he like talks about chi and it's this life energy force and everything like that. And I was like, okay, I guess I got to watch more Kung Fu Panda. And so, but not just that, I've had experiences in my life with things that I would describe as spirit, used a lot of synonyms, right? But all the words for me kind of fall short of like the experience of it. And after that experience, I was like, man, I just want to like teach everybody I've ever met or will ever meet what I can teach to help them have an experience of feeling how connected we are to everything and everyone, and this life energy that's available to us as we come to stillness. So it just kind of infused the fire in my bones to like to share stillness so that we can find this energy that's available to us that just makes life super fun.
There's that. You're hitting on the sales point for me there. And guys, like I would just say to anybody listening, if they're like, I don't know if I can get to that point, that's fine. And don't worry about that. Like, but what I would say is like, just try it out. Just experiment with it. If you want to feel more peace, more connection, and more energy, just give it a go and see what happens. And if it's something big, great. If it's something small, good.
Yeah.
But just notice it if you can come to this stillness and feel more energy, and then be more open to a more rich experience in your life. Just try it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. And for sure, that experience, I wouldn't want anybody to feel bad if like they try it and they're like not feeling this electricity the first try or something like that. That's something that for me, I even hesitated to share the experience because of that. Like, I don't want people striving or like gritting to try to create an experience to happen, because for me, how it this is something where I've been doing these practices for a long time, and it was something that I almost relaxed into, like that I almost opened into, almost surrendered into, as I just became really aware of the subtle sensations. But I've done that a lot of times, and it didn't result in this, intense experience. And I don't even know if we need that intense experience, but I shared it just because I think it helps illustrate that there is in stillness energy, and that just whether we feel it or not, in the same way I just described, I think you'll notice it in your life as you come to stillness. You'll notice energy flowing into all the activities that you participate in, the greater stillness there is in your life. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I say we practice right now, and I just want to remind everybody listening kind of a pattern for how we practice if we haven't delineated it too much right now. Like first, we try and become a little bit more aware of our mental states and our bodies. Just become aware, and then we observe, and then we do a practice to tune in more and to bring that sort of energetic stillness more to the forefront to experience life more fully. So that's kind of the pattern. Is that good enough to say right there?
You bet.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just get ready for a practice. Tucker, are you leading us through today?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. To our listeners, go ahead and settle into a place where you can be comfortable, be alert, maybe have your spine straight. You can do this lying down for sure. You can do it sitting up, but straight spine will help you stay alert. And let's just close our eyes so that we can turn inward and become aware of our inner state. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath and let it out with a sigh if you'd like to, but just relax and release tension all throughout your body as you take this deep breath and let it out. And just observe the inner state of your body a little bit. Observe your emotions. Observe any forces that are leading you away from this present moment, anything that's pulling you toward past or future. And just observe that force. Don't fight against it. Just allow it to be. And in that allowance, those forces lose their strength a little bit. And just bring your attention back to the present moment and observe your inner state. Allow it to be what it is. Now, as you relax and release, let's go ahead and just do a very quick scan from the top of our body down to our toes. Start at your head. Release the tension in your scalp, in your forehead, your cheeks and face, down through your chin and neck. Shoulders, just be relaxing and releasing any tension down through your chest and abdomen, through your thighs and calves and down through your toes, and from your shoulders down through your upper arms, through your forearms, and to the tips of your fingers. Just let everything release and relax. And now become aware of subtle sensations through your body. And find a place in your body where you can feel subtle sensations. It might be in your toes or your fingertips. You might feel a little tingling there, or your lips or face, or your chest. You might feel your heart beating. That's a good place to start as well. You can also follow your breath gently inside. But become aware of life sensations inside your body. And focus on the more subtle feelings. You might feel subtle energy, subtle waves. And as you feel those life sensation, that subtle energy that's in you, just allow it to rise, surrender to it, allow it to grow. As your mind might pull your thoughts other places, just bring it back to the sensations in your body, connecting to the energy inside you. If you've found those energies in one specific part of your body to be stronger than another part of your body, like if it's in your feet, subtly raise your attention to the lower part of your legs and then the upper part of your legs, and invite an awareness of that energy to expand throughout your body. If it's in your fingertips, allow your awareness to run up your arms, and if it's in your face, allow it to expand down through your scalp. But allow the sensations of energy to expand through your whole body. And if you can, come to a sense of feeling energy through your whole body simultaneously. And if you find your awareness and your connection to that energy coming and going, that's fine. Just bring your awareness back to the energy and allow it to expand and increase. We're not trying to make something happen. We're just allowing those energies to do their work and our awareness to increase of them. As you come to deeper stillness, you might feel those energies, your perception of those energies increasing. If you'd like to sit in this practice and expand it, feel free to pause the podcast and prolong it as long as you'd like. Now let's go ahead and wrap up and come back to awareness of our bodies and what's around us. Go ahead and open your eyes. Take a breath, but still see if you can hold on to the awareness of the energy that you were tuning into during the practice. And keep an awareness of that inner body, that energy, as you continue throughout your day. So Nate, in that brief practice that we just did, tell me what things should we remember and think about, and what things are helpful for you as you lean into this practice?
One thing I notice, I love, like, when I tune into one space and pay attention, that feeling of aliveness or energy seems to expand. And number two, like, there are several times, I know it was a brief practice, where my mind went somewhere else. Particularly like, what do I need to do next? My son's out for a run and it's raining, like, what's going on with him, right? And so there was kind of this constant ebb and flow where I almost became aware, oh, I'm drifting a little bit, and then tuning back into that feeling of energy. Like, for me, it was a tingling sensation. Sometimes it is my heartbeat, sometimes it is my breath, whatever it is that comes back. And just to come back, like, almost like the tide of the ocean, like, oh, you went out, like, just come back, and let there be an easiness to that, that settling in, and sometimes to be okay with that taking some time. For me, usually on a daily basis, it's probably about 20 minutes, and it is back and forth. Sometimes I'm so excited when I finish that and I'm focused on energy, but a lot of times my timer goes off and I was like, oh, dang it, I was daydreaming. But
Absolutely, that's real right there.
but just giving us some time to settle in and being okay with practicing focus, and that's valuable to me. But I do feel real aliveness,
Yeah.
energy there as I settle in a little bit. And like I said before, I'm excited to live more real life, and not just be alive living a virtual life, and trying to divide or split my energy. I just feel like if there's more of me to give to the moment, the more that impact will be. So often my future plans are to make sure the next moment is good, but I'm just dividing who I am into more pieces. I become a less effective army, a less effective impact right there. So there's some thoughts that are going through as we process this a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's so helpful. Well, yeah, I love how you've talked about the benefits of that energy and just bringing an aliveness to the present moment. So we'd love to hear from people. What are the benefits? What are the struggles? What are the challenges? What are the things that as you seek to connect to this energy, you see growing out of it? And it is a practice, right? Like Nate, thanks so much for just talking about how the thoughts wander and things like that. And when you catch yourself and your thoughts are off somewhere else, that's part of the victory of this practice, is like you have become more conscious in that moment of your own thoughts, which means you can be more present because you've developed an ability to catch yourself when your thoughts wander. And that's part of the beauty of this, right? Is we're becoming more and more conscious of ourselves, our lives, our minds, our thoughts, and that is bringing us more and more into the present moment. We talked about it in the last couple of podcasts. We are becoming more and more able to live on this paradise island of the present instead of getting caught paddling away for that mainland dream, right? So
thank you so much, Tucker. Thank you, friends, for listening. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Come hang out with us. Thanks, friends.
absolutely enjoy some energetic stillness out there. Thanks, everybody.